Leo, welcome to your weekly tarot reading. Let's get started. Let's see what messages we have for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone, so make sure to check out your other placements to give you a more complete picture. And if you've been thinking about getting a personal reading, have a look at the description below, because I am extending my promotion till the end of the summer. So those prices will be in effect until the end of August. Okay, let's get started here for Leo. What is the current energy around Leo for the week ahead? 9 of Cups. What a great way to start a reading. So the current energy around you right now is focused around emotional fulfillment, seeing your wishes come true, feeling almost intoxicated with joy. That's why this fellow's cheeks are so red. He's sort of a metaphor for getting everything you want. He's intoxicated with joy. And, you know, all those cups back there sort of represent his emotional fulfillment, and he's just drunk with joy right now. So it's funny. But let's see what could be causing any kind of obstacle or challenge to this happy and fulfilling moment for you. Oh, wow, it's the Page of Wands. Okay, so this is interesting, Leo. This makes me feel like you're feeling really satisfied right now. Your energy is very much in a fulfilled place, but you might be feeling a bit restless, like you're ready for your next adventure, because it's almost like in the Nine of Cups here, you've achieved a certain standard of, or a certain level, I should say, of emotional satisfaction. And now that you have, it's almost like in my mind, I'm seeing you cross something off your list, like a check mark, like done, achieved. And now it's almost like you're like, what should I do next? And so that could be sort of blocking your fulfillment in the sense that you're already thinking, what should I do next? What's next? What's next? So that's really interesting, actually, to see that combination there. It makes me feel like you feel very satisfied. And now you're like, well, what should I do now? What should I do now? So it's interesting. It's almost like you're gaining momentum from one experience that felt very fulfilling. And that momentum is helping you to sort of already get excited about something new. And so it is an obstacle in the sense, but it doesn't really feel like it's challenging you. It feels more like it's exciting you. And it's a time where you feel like things are gaining momentum in a certain way, which is interesting because last week's reading for Leo was all about unlocking unconscious patterns and waking up to these unconscious patterns that could be operating in the background. And so it's almost like now that you've woken up to those patterns and shifted them, you're feeling really satisfied, and you're like, now what? Now what do I do? What's next? But not in an anxious way, almost a very excited way where the momentum has builded. The momentum is building. Okay, let's see here. What is top of mind for Leo right now? Top of mind. Ooh, okay. Did you see those fly out? So top of mind, yeah, like I'm saying, you're moving here to the beat of your heart, and you're really excited about what you're capable of creating. And it's interesting. It feels like now that you've sort of gotten those patterns realized that are holding you back last week, now you're sort of thinking to yourself, well, now what? Now what can I do with all of this sort of renewed energy that I'm feeling? What should I do now? And it feels like what's top of mind for you is this idea of pursuing something like a dreamer, almost like the Knight of Cups. All the knights express movement, a kind of movement, and the Knight of Cups is almost like the dreamer. He moves to the beat of his heart, and he chases what he feels is most connected to him. And again, there's no gender or anything, but seeing him come through with the Empress makes me feel like what resonates in your heart right now is the idea of creating something, birthing something. A path of self-discovery in the Page of Wands leads to you moving to the beat of your heart to create something that really feels like it's sort of an authentic, true part of yourself. And it's interesting. It feels like that's really what's on your mind right now, is like, what can I do next? How can I sort of step in and lean into myself even more? You know, very, very interesting, considering last week's reading really felt like it was an awakening, and this week's reading feels like the continuation of that awakening, where it leads to the question of, what should I do with all of this newfound creative energy? You know what I mean? It's a new day for you, Leo, and it feels like it's leading to a new journey. Let's see what's driving all this. The Six of Pentacles. You're feeling imbalance. You're feeling like you're back in the driver's seat. Is a funny thing to say, but that's what came to mind. This idea that you're feeling more like this guy than these two hands, where you're like, I'm in balance. What can I offer? I'm in balance. What can I create? I'm in balance. What should I pursue? You know, and it feels like this is a time where you have realized a lot about yourself, and you're wanting to realize even more. Like, you're now thirsty for more self-discovery, more creation, more inspiration, because you're sitting in a great place of balance. The Six of Pentacles is an interesting card, because when you think about what comes before it, the Five of Pentacles can often be a time where we're experiencing losses or setbacks. And I feel like that really resonates from last week's reading, where you may have felt stuck because of some unconscious programs that were still running in the background, but you've come into balance this week. And it's really motivating you to start saying, what should I do next? What can I become? You know, really interesting. Let's see what the past influences are here. Seven of Wands in reverse. So the Seven of Wands in reverse tells me that your past energy may have been very guarded and defensive, and not really open in the same way that I'm seeing it is now. So this may have been as recent as last week, or it could have been distant past, depending on your situation. But it really feels like the energy has shifted. It feels like you've shifted. And now, instead of being defensive and sort of guarded, and not in a way that feels empowered, it feels like you're moving into a place of empowerment that says, I know myself, and I don't need to be guarded or defensive anymore. It feels like there's been a big shift towards balance here, where you see yourself, you know yourself, and you're wanting to know even more now that you've discovered this sort of alignment. You know, you're almost interested to see where else it will take you, you know, all the places you will go. Let's see what's coming up in the future energy. The Five of Swords. Interesting. So you know what that tells me, actually? Sometimes this isn't a card that people like to see, but what this tells me about your future energy is that I think you're not going to necessarily feel like you need to explain yourself to others. You know, sometimes the Five of Swords can be a time of really feeling like there's been no winners in a conversation or in a certain dialogue, that the two parties haven't really understood each other, and everyone walks away feeling a little bit defeated. But this card in this position for you is making me feel like you're going to be okay if people don't understand you. It's almost like you're going to sort of not even feel the need to explain yourself, is how I'm feeling when I see that for you in that position, that you're sort of moving away from a time where you may have stood on that beach and argued your point until you were able to convince someone of what you were saying. But now it's sort of like you're like, it doesn't really matter to me if you see my point or not. This is how I feel. This is what I think. This is my opinion. And if you don't like it, that's okay, because I don't need you to. You know, it's interesting. It almost feels like you're at a place where you're like, okay, you know. Let's see, how does Leo see themselves right now? Okay, so it's interesting seeing the Three of Wands and the World card. Now, the Three of Wands is in reverse. So And the World card is here. So that makes me feel like, Leo, you feel like there's a certain chapter that has come to a close. And right now, the Three of Wands is saying to me that you might not be dreaming big enough about the next chapter. You know what I mean? You might need to just dream a little bit bigger. And it does feel like there is sort of this closure energy around something. And again, I feel like it really serves you, because that Page of Wands makes me feel like you're off to a new beginning here, and a sort of a self-discovery new beginning, where you're just so curious about your own journey right now that you may not be overly focused on outcomes, which I like, actually, because the more we focus on outcomes instead of the journey, the more we can sort of get a little bit attached, you know what I mean? And sometimes very attached. So that Three of Wands in reverse makes me feel like the message for you there is that you're not necessarily feeling like you're dreaming enough, or dreaming big enough, or imagining enough, you know, in terms of what's possible. It feels like there may be some fear or delay about this because you're still figuring it out. And it's interesting because it feels like as one thing is coming to a close, you're sort of, again, like that energy when we started of what's next. But it's almost like you need to really, really tap into that imagination. You know what I mean? And in the sense of moving in the right direction, you may need to contemplate that a little bit. And seeing the World does make me feel like there's something coming into completion. But the World card also brings in this idea of integrating the wisdom of your experience that you've had already on this journey, because the World is the final card on the Fool's journey. So once you get to this card in the Fool's journey, there's a moment of pause almost to sort of integrate all the knowledge that you have experienced and all of the wisdom that you now have to start your next journey. And so you may need to do more integration in order to be able to sort of dream big. And we see that Knight of Cups. I know that you're moving to the beat of your heart here. So it's interesting. The World card is completion, but it is also this idea of understanding your experience without taking shortcuts in that process, so that you can really see and integrate the wisdom of the journey you've just gone on before you begin the next one. It's very, very interesting. Let's see here. How do other people are seeing Leo right now? How's Leo coming across? Okay, Seven of Cups. So I think the people around you right now, your energy is sort of outwardly reflecting this idea that you're exploring options. And that makes sense, because I feel like you really have wrapped something up, or you're wrapping something up now. And so there's a large part of your focus is, what should I do next? And this is the ultimate card of what should I do next. It can be a time where we're sort of fantasizing about each option and trying to anticipate, well, how's this one going to make me feel? How's this one going to make me feel? This one. And sort of feeling them out before we pick one. There is sort of a nice energy in seeing this card upright as opposed to in reverse, because when it's in reverse, there can be fear blocking options. I think for you, it's not fear, it's more just uncertainty, not knowing which direction you're going to go next in, and what sort of pursuits you will have moving forward. You know, what are you going to be getting up to? What are you going to be pursuing? What are you going to do to understand yourself on a deeper level? What will you start to create? What will you start to offer? You know what I mean? Like, these are all the questions I think that are pertinent for Leo right now, as you're at this sort of place where you're moving from one experience into the next, and one almost like journey into the next journey. I feel like you're moving from one experience that was a whole journey into the next one. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the Fool come up, but seeing the Page of Rods it kind of reminds me of the Fool, in the sense that you're ready to begin something new. You're ready to take a new journey. And I'm seeing the Four of Wands on the bottom of the deck, which is like a finish line, as you can see. Kind of looks like a finish line. In some tarot decks, there's a couple standing right here, and they're celebrating, holding up bouquets. Sometimes this is a marriage card for some readers. In this case, I feel like we're seeing the Four of Wands because you're about to cross a finish line, or you have crossed it already, and now you're in the like, you know, you got the 3 and the 4. So it's very interesting. Let's see here. What are the hopes and fears for Leo? Okay. Swords. It's all stuff in your mind that are the hopes and fears. So we see first the Seven of Swords in reverse, which can be a time where we're not being completely honest with ourselves about something. So you may need to sort of bring some stillness and rest to your mind so that you can sort of have time to digest, time to integrate. Like I was saying with that World card, really integrating the experience and the journey that you've just sort of completed so that you can understand the wisdom of what you've just experienced, recover, get some rest, get yourself sort of imagining and reflecting on all of these options, and then choosing one. Ace of Swords, beginning a new pathway, a new idea, a new venture, a new realization. Something gets realized here. So it's what I'm saying, or what I'm seeing here, is the need for more reflection, but very honest reflection. That Seven of Swords tells me that you might not completely either be focused on looking at things from different perspectives, or you might be looking at things from a limited perspective. Even if you have expanded, you might still be holding a limited belief system about what's possible. And so the Seven of Swords and the Four of Swords and the Ace of Swords in this position tell me that your hopes are that you will realize where and what you should be doing next, but your fear is that you might be too close to it, too critical of it, in order to really see things as possible and as expansive as they are. Because I can't stop looking at that Three of Wands, which tells me that you're maybe not dreaming big enough when you think about the options. You might be thinking on the scale of, let's use some crystals to make an example here. You might be thinking in terms of, oh yeah, if I could have that, that'd be great. If this was possible, this is great. Let's go after that. When really, if you expand your thinking, you might you might find yourself obtaining this guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you think about it, where's your perception of what's possible, right? Is it this or this? And I mean, my other quartz is in the other room, but I mean, we could even look at this honker. You know, which one do you think is possible for you? And when you compare them, you know, it's interesting to think, well, am I setting my sights on this, which is lovely. I mean, it's one of my favorites actually. But when you think about what could be possible for yourself, are you setting your sight? Where are you setting your sights right now, Leo? Right? I mean, they all have beauty, but it's interesting as an analogy to think, am I limiting myself to something and thinking that's all that's possible when really the sky is the limit? I mean, really, it's funny because I just made a post on Instagram about saying the sky isn't the limit, the mind is. You know, ultimately, the sky isn't the limit. It's our own perception that is the true limit. So, food for thought. Let's see here. What is the potential outcome for Leo? I knew the Fool was going to come up. Didn't I say that? I totally said that. I said that when I was talking about this guy. So, it's a new adventure for you, Leo. You're off. You've packed your little sack, and you've got your doggy there, and you've got your stick, your wand here in the Page of Wands, and you're off. The only thing I would say in your reading is make sure that you spend some time really dreaming big and really trying to integrate the wisdom of your experience in that wake up that you've had recently, where you unlocked yourself from this sort of unconscious programming that may have been holding you back. And now your job is to use that sort of new perception to guide your path ahead, and to not limit that path with the same kind of unconscious programming that you just woke up from. Do you know what I mean? To really allow yourself to go as far as you want and as far as you believe is possible, and to go for it. I love that. The Seven of Pentacles is on the bottom of the deck, so you got the Seven of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles. So it's really just a question of choice at this point. Right now the question is about choice and direction, and that's it. You know, everything else I feel is really much in balance for you this week because of the integration process that you're going through right now to understand yourself on a deeper level has revealed to you that you're ready for whatever's next. Love that. Okay, let's see. To close this reading for Leo, what is the highest guidance? What does Leo need to surrender or surrender to? Surrender to prayer is coming up. I'll read you the messages in just a sec. I just want to go through the whole deck. Oh, that fell on the floor. Surrender to silence. Oh gosh, why is everything falling on the floor? And surrender to complete healing. Okay, Leo. Let's see here. Oops. Gosh, you know, tarot readers are funny, right? We like the cards to stay where we put them. There we go. Okay. All right, my friends. So surrender to prayer came out first for you. Give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you will be heard through the universe, and answers and support will arrive. So if you are sort of thinking about the options about where and what to do next, where to go and what to do next, prayer might help sort of focus you, and you may find that you receive the answers when you ask for them. Show me the direction that will serve me in the highest way. Show me how to be of service. Show me where I need to focus my energy to be as creative as I can, and what should I be focusing on. You know, when you ask, you'll start to receive signs. Remember, these pages are all about messengers. They're messengers, excuse me. And so when you ask for guidance, you will be given signs that will guide you. But you just have to be open to receiving them and paying attention. Surrender to silence, which is that Four of Swords that we saw. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you and make room for you to have guidance come through your higher self. So very, very interesting. Now, the last card you got, I love here, surrender to complete healing. Open fully to the loving, compassionate forces of the universe that support your physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. So if there's anything that you feel remains needing some healing and some recovery, surrender to that. Give it to yourself, right? It's a very interesting reading for you, Leo, on the heels of last week's reading. If you haven't seen last week's reading, go check it out, see if it resonated for you. And then watch this one again, because it feels almost like a part 2. And it feels like whatever you went through last week is guiding you through this week. And it feels like the highest guidance for you is to really integrate the wisdom of your experience, to ask for support and guidance from the universe through prayer and through meditation to connect to your higher self. It's a new journey for you. I love it. I knew we were going to see the Fool when I started reading this spread for you, and it really feels like you're in such balance this week, but you may still have some lingering limits in your mind. So I feel like this will help you clear them out. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave it at that for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. I really hope it's been helpful, and I look forward to reading for you again soon. Sending you so much love and encouragement. Take care.